Welcome to this explainer. Okay, be honest with me for a second. Does the mere thought of speaking English out loud make you just freeze up? If so, you are in exactly the right place. Today, we're going to completely demystify that fear of spoken English by breaking down a highly actionable 5-step roadmap from our source material. We're talking about a real strategy to take you from hesitant to speaking fluently and confidently. We are totally skipping the dense grammar books today and focusing purely on practical, real-world techniques that actually work.
To kick things off, look at this quote right here. It says, "Jumping from the 4th floor seems easier, but English makes us sweat." I mean, it's hilarious, right? But man, it is deeply, deeply relatable. The material perfectly captures and validates that deep-seated anxiety so many of us feel. You might understand English perfectly fine when someone else is talking to you, but the exact second you need to open your own mouth and reply, the panic sets in. It's kind of become this massive, intimidating monster in our minds.
And you know, this frustration is actually incredibly common. Just look at this massive disparity. Only 1% of people can speak English fluently, while 6% can confidently write it. That gap is huge, and it literally proves one crucial thing. Traditional studying just isn't working for spoken fluency. But we can't just ignore the problem, right? In today's era of globalization, where the whole world has basically shrunk into our smartphones, spoken English is an absolute necessity. Whether you're trying to land a great job, expand a business, travel, or even date, speaking English isn't just a language skill anymore, it is a tool that rockets your self-confidence straight to the top.
Okay, let's dive right into this. Here is our 5-step agenda for today. Think of this as your personal bridge from the problem we just talked about to the ultimate solution. We've got tip 1, just listen. Tip 2, practice brings perfection. Tip 3, environment and conversation. Tip 4, learn with entertainment. And we will wrap it all up with tip 5, baby steps.
All right, kicking things off with our absolute most fundamental step, tip 1, just listen.
Listen, before you even think about opening your mouth to speak, you've got to absorb the language. It happens through your ears first. Just think about how a baby learns their mother tongue. Whether that kid is born into a family speaking Punjabi, French, English, whatever it is, what are they doing for the first 2 or 3 years of their life? They're just listening. There are no textbooks, there's no grammar tutor. We weren't taught to speak our native language by writing it first, we learned by constantly hearing it. The insights point out that even though a toddler's mental development isn't fully formed, they still learn to speak flawlessly just from their environment. So if a little kid can do it, you absolutely can too. Increase your listening capacity and your vocabulary will naturally start to build itself.
Moving right along, here is tip 2, practice brings perfection.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the transition from passive listening to active trying. Imagine attempting to learn how to drive a car or how to swim entirely by reading a book. It sounds ridiculous, right? You can't just read a manual and suddenly know how to do the butterfly stroke in a pool. You got to jump in the water. At first, your arms and legs are going to be all over the place, you'll splash around, maybe swallow some water, but eventually it clicks. English is exactly the same way. It is a practical skill. You cannot learn it purely through theory. You must jump in, speak it out loud, and most importantly, allow yourself to make mistakes without constantly worrying if people are laughing at you.
Seriously, just look at some of these legendary athletes who started out with broken English but achieved total fluency. Guys like cricketers Harbhajan Singh and Virender Sehwag. People actually joke that in their early days, their English was so rough that the English language itself probably wanted to give up. Navjot Singh Sidhu apparently used to get out early in matches on purpose just so he wouldn't have to give the man of the match interview. And Yuvraj Singh? He literally wrote Goa as his mother tongue on a form. But look at them now. They're giving super confident expert commentary in English on global television, and they didn't get there by being perfect on day 1. They got there through shameless, relentless practice.
Which brings us perfectly to tip 3, environment and conversation.
Now, I know exactly what you're probably thinking right now. This is all great, but who on earth do I actually practice with? Listen, if you're feeling guilty about not having a practice partner, just let that guilt go right now. The traditional schooling system is honestly largely to blame here. The education system forced us to memorize all these complex grammar rules just to pass written exams, but it gave us absolutely zero real-life conversation practice. We literally never had a safe environment to just sit and chat. So it's completely natural that you feel a bit stuck.
So how do we fix this? To bridge this gap, the material outlines a really cool, modern, technological solution, the Cambly app. It basically solves that environment problem right from your phone. You can practice chatting with native English tutors from the US or UK from the comfort of your couch. It provides a 100% non-judgmental environment. Nobody knows you and nobody is judging your mistakes. Plus, it's an awesome way to get some exposure to global culture. They also have Cambly group classes, where 5 to 7 people at your exact same learning stage can chat safely together. The source notes that using the code SAM999 actually gets you access for a month for just 999 rupees, which is like a 60% discount. It's just a fantastic, highly structured way to finally get that conversation practice in.
All right, shifting gears to tip 4, learn with entertainment. Let's be totally real for a second. Reading a dense grammar book is a great way to put yourself to sleep in about 10 minutes flat. But a 3-hour movie? We can binge that, no problem. So we need to swap out boring studying for fun immersion. The material gives us this incredibly actionable progression you can literally start today. Step 1. Watch your favorite sports with the English commentary turned on. You already know what's happening in the game, so your brain effortlessly connects the action to the words. Step 2. Watch Hindi movies, but turn on the English subtitles so you're reading along. Step 3. Flip it around. Watch English movies with Hindi subtitles to catch the flow of the language while still getting the plot. And Step 4. Watch English news and cartoons. This is actually a brilliant insight from the source, because cartoons use the absolute easiest, most accessible English out there. They're made for kids. Surround yourself with the language through entertainment, and you'll naturally just soak it up.
And finally, that brings us to tip 5, baby steps. So the crucial point is really summed up right here, and it's probably the most empowering advice yet. Do not fall into the trap of complex grammar or big words initially. You have got to completely lower your expectations of yourself on day 1. If you try to bust out massive, complicated sentences or dig for heavy vocabulary words right away, you're just going to get overwhelmed, and honestly, you'll probably want to quit.
Instead, you gotta start incredibly small. I'm talking tiny phrases. Thank you. I love you. How are you? Let's go for dinner. God is great. Let's sit together. You can seamlessly drop these little phrases into your daily life right now. I mean, you don't need a PhD in linguistics to say, let's have lunch, right? By starting with these baby steps, you're building up your confidence brick by brick, entirely without the pressure. And there you have it, the complete roadmap. The insights note that sure, English can be a pretty funny language sometimes, but if you consistently dedicate yourself to these 5 simple tips, you can see a massive transformation in just about 6 months. You really can go from sweating at the mere thought of speaking to confidently holding your own in a conversation. So my final question to you is this. Knowing that jumping in and making mistakes is literally the only real way forward, are you ready to drop your fears and take your very first baby step today?